What's up, guys? I know that I'm extremely late to make this video, and it's because lately I have been procrastinating and not posting videos lately. But after 50 million years, I'll finally post a video on the new reworked classes. Well, at least for the common and uncommon classes. And just for the people who clicked on this video and for some reason didn't read the title. In this video, I'll be covering every new reworked common and uncommon class in the game. I've also read a lot of comments asking me to make a video about this, so I'll put up some comments right here on the video. And just so you know, I will make another video showcasing the rare classes. And I also assure you that it will either release late today or early tomorrow. Alright, so now that I'm finally done with the intro, let's start off with the adventure class. And one last thing I want to say is that most showcases will be shorter than others because this is common and uncommon classes, so obviously it's going to be short because I don't literally have anything to talk about when it comes to common and uncommon classes. Alright, so started out in the game, I start with a bronze ring, which I can just sell for 15 gold. When you sell the bronze ring, paired with the starting amount of gold, you can buy you a sword if you want to. For the sword that you start with, it only does 10 damage, so I recommend you buying a weapon before you fight anything. Since that's really all I can talk about with this class, let me just show you me fighting goblins with this class. By the way, this class has permanent 5% evasion, so right here I try to get hit by some goblins to try and see if I can dodge an attack, but as you can see, it's not even that reliable because I got hit 10 or 10. I don't even know how many times I got hit, and then I still didn't even dodge an attack. Alright, so here's the breakdown of the adventure class. I do this after every class I showcase to show all the pros and cons and stuff, to see what it specializes in, and then just a summary of what it does. So there's nothing really special about this class other than it can be good for beginners because it starts with armor and a sword. Alright, so now that I'm done showcasing adventure, let me show you believer, which out of all the uncommon classes has the most standard items. So starting out, I get 2 health potions, a heal wand, and a prayer ability. For the healing wand, force damage, it says -10, and then if you don't know what that means, it basically means whatever you hit, you end up healing it. And then for the prayer skill, it just boosts your regeneration a bit, so you can see my regeneration go up for it a bit, but after a while it just goes down, so it's not even that useful if I say so myself. Alright, so I forgot to go over this earlier, but this class does not spawn off a weapon, so I had to get a weapon from this Goblin run, which was a pitchfork. So right here, I just started doing damage with the pitchfork, and then I used my healing wand to show you that even though it's meant to kill allies, you can't even heal enemies. So you can basically heal anything with this wand. You can heal your friends, you can heal your summons, you can even heal enemies. Because I know some people be trapping enemies and then they try to bring it to fight another boss. So if you want to bring a boss and make it fight with something else and then it's gonna die, just use a healing one on it and then it won't die from it. Alright, so I know I said it'll be short earlier, but here's the breakdown since there's nothing really to talk about. It's a good class for basic killing, but it's not too good and stuff. And I don't really say that the prayer skill is it could be better because you don't really get any regeneration when you use it. So if you use this class, I recommend trying to get a weapon at the start to at least protect you from enemies. But other than that, there's really no cons other than having no weapon to start with. But honestly, the ability being bad isn't really a con, but it's just so terrible I listed it as one. Alright, so let's move onto the Bushling class, which is basically the believer class, but instead it focuses on regeneration. So spawning in, I get a staff called Divine Wand, ability called Natural Healing, and Everbloom. Alright, so Divine Wand shoots shoots fast. It takes 2 mana a hit. For Natural Healing, it's basically a permanent 10 regeneration if you just hold it. So if you know the Mushroom Mountain from the Gnome Town, it's that, but it's your own ability. Alright, so right here I kill some goblins, and you can actually kill them in 3 or 4 hits if you just do headshots, since it's 15 damage for a headshot. But one thing that I didn't get to do is kill this last goblin because I didn't have enough mana to kill him. I say that the only downside of this class is that it if you don't have enough mana, you're basically defensive. So like I always suggest with these mage classes at least buy one melee weapon. So there isn't really any cons about this class, and I say that this class is pretty good for a beginner because you get a good wand, a good ability, and you also start off with an Everbloom, which can give you 0.5 speed. The only thing I would say is make sure to buy a melee weapon or get some mana before you start fighting things, because if you just run out of mana while in the middle of fighting things, you're probably gonna die. So yeah. Alright, so now moving on to the Gnome class. It's basically a class for all those like melee people and for those people who want to take attacks. Alright, so starting off, we get a Link Sword, which is pretty good weapon to start with. A Gnome Shield that gives you a lot of health for a short time, and a healing potion. So the damage on the Link Sword is pretty good, doing 16.5 damage a hit. So for the Gnome Shield, I had 104 HP, now I have 231 HP. So the Gnome Shield gave me over 100 HP, and then I say it's like really good for taking hits. Also, a bonus for this class, you're around the same height as the shelf. Alright, so fighting I'm a Hobgoblin. I use my shield, and then like it's basically tickling me at this point, but it's not even doing that much damage. I say the only real downside of the shield is like how long it lasts, because I don't even think the effects last like more than 10 seconds or something. And I also use the Gnome Shield with this big group of goblins, and then like as you can see, they're barely doing damage to me, because I basically have more than double HP I had than before. So here's the breakdown for the class. I say it's good for taking, and with the damage you do with the Link Sword, it is pretty good for a DPS and a tank. So if I was a beginner and I wanted to use a class for attacking and tanking at the same time, I would use this class because it's good for both of those things. The only thing I really say is a con is just the slow attack speed on the sword, because like in a fight, it matters how fast you kill an enemy so they don't do too much damage to you. Now that I'm done showcasing Gnome, I'm gonna showcase the Goblin class now, and I'm gonna say this now, bro. Like, out of all the uncommon and rare classes, I say that Goblin is the best class of all of them. So starting in, I'll start with a Rusty Dagger that I can use for fighting, a coin pouch for like a free 35 gold, and the backstab ability, which is like the main reason I say it's a good class. The dagger only does 9.6 damage, but like its attack speed is really small. And then the gold, and then the coin pouch, it gives 35 gold. But the real game changer is the backstab ability. So I get around double speed, double damage, and like it only lasts 10 seconds, but I can like do a lot in those 10 seconds. And if you're running this ability, it's equivalent to the Nutcracker ability. And if you wanted to use this class for this ability, you should like try it now before the legendary classes release, because they're probably going to patch it, because this ability is a bug and it was intended to be in the game. So I'm gonna try the ability against some goblins, and then like I literally killed the goblins in 3 hits. Even though like they are a very weak enemy in the game, I say that if you get like a more powerful weapon like a battle axe, you can easily do like over 60 to 70 damage. And then you can do that with a short cooldown too. It's basically a Nutcracker for beginners. Instead of taking away 75 health, you actually keep the health, but instead of like the long time, the long duration it was activated, it only lasts 10 seconds. Alright, so here's a breakdown for the Goblin class. I know it's the ability for it is bugged right now, but like it's been here for like 2 weeks, which is like the time it released. So I'm just saying it's a part of the class now. I say the ability for it is like good. It's like extremely good for a common class. And then I suggest you get it before like it gets patched, but it'll probably get patched in legendary rework, which will be in like a few days or so. And even though the ability's gonna get patched, the cooldown's low and all those hard things, I still think the class is like super good for its ranking, because it's only an uncommon rank, and then it has the ability as strong as Nutcrackers or similar. Alright, so now we're moving on to the final types of classes for the uncommon rank, and it's one of my favorite types of classes, and it's Mages. Alright, you might be surprised by like how it only has 2 starter items, the Crude Run and the Blink, but It's actually pretty good if I say so myself. So for the crude run, it does 15 damage a hit, and unlike other wands and staffs and stuff, it only takes 1 mana a shot, and normally it takes 2 mana to shoot a one. All right, so the blink ability, it makes you teleport for 25 mana. It's my favorite part of the mage like the mage classes, because I just like teleporting in general. But the big downside of it is just it takes a lot of mana, obviously. So fighting goblins, it was pretty easy to take them down. It only took 3 mana to take down goblin, or 3 mana or 3 shots, you can say. And then I use my blink ability to get away. So right here, when the goblin got close to me, I used my blink ability, and then you can just teleport away when you're in danger. Alright, so here's the breakdown of the mage class. Out of every uncommon and common classes, this one definitely has like the longest list of pros and cons. So personally, I'll say that this class is good for doing damage in like a quick amount of time. So if you just like doing damage, and you also want to like get a way to get out of trouble using the blink ability, I suggest you get in this class since it's good for both of those things. So definitely get this class if you want a way to do damage at a quick amount of time and also get away from like a bad situation. But other than that, I say the biggest downside of this class is just the sheer amount of mana it takes to like even use the blink ability. So if I were you and I was using this class, I would just get a whole bunch of mana potions, and always make sure I have a whole bunch of mana potions, or at least have a melee weapon. Alright, so that's going to be the end of the video. I want to thank anyone who actually watched it to the end of the video. And just so you know, I will make another video showcasing all the rare classes. So see ya.